So I'm going to start, I felt to start talking about sharing with you indicators of being able to understand the growth that you're going through, right? So you're leveling up spiritually. And not many people talk about this. So the next couple of weeks, I'm going to break this down into different aspects and share some things about it, so that you start, once you start being aware of how you are spiritually growing, how you're leveling up, so to speak, the depth of the connection that's happening with you and God, it increases the momentum. It causes you to, like, have confidence, but also know that you're on the right track and that you are growing and you are learning things. Because it's like I want patience and I want it now. So it's like when you're learning and growing in the spirit, that you are sensing the indicators, you becoming more self-aware, which is really important, because when you're more self-aware, you are a lot quicker to bring a slight shift in things that are being revealed to you. All right, so that's what we're going to do for the next couple of weeks. So indicators of leveling up spiritually. So the number one indicator of you growing is your curiosity for spiritual knowledge. You're not here by chance, guys. You're here because you want to learn, and I'm getting people coming back. They're really hungry to understand the things of the spirit and how it all works, which is fantastic. So one of the things is that you are hungry for more of the truth of what's going on, which, can we all agree, the whole globe is going through that momentum. And also, the connection with God. And the connection with God is also connected in knowing who you are. So it's the interaction and the connection in the spirit. It's, for some people, it's like, until I connected with God, the one true God, it was like, once I made that connection, that little void that we can tend to feel that's missing, all of a sudden becomes filled. So who's ever experienced that? Yeah, it's like all of a sudden everything just connects, that you're that you're connected to the one true God, you're on the right path, and things start to unfold. The truth starts to unfold. And then also your spiritual spirit man starts to grow, and you start to understand the spiritual principles and how it all works. And this is part of that curiosity. It's like, how does it work? How did we get here? What am I doing here? What's my purpose and plan? And we are all looking for that. That's why children are really curious when they're when they're babies. They're learning, and we're guiding them in their learning. We're presenting things to them so that they can learn, like we do the building blocks. We've got little bicycles to get them in their balance, and all the things that we put around them, with training wheels. So, and then the training wheels come off because they're growing in their ability. Well, it's the same with how God works with us. Okay, he's never going to put you in a situation that you are going to fail, because he's always there to help you grow and learn. Okay, so, but it's not, I really want to clear this mindset up, which is really comes from religiosity as well, or religious spirit. You know, I'm sick because God wants to teach me a lesson. God doesn't need to make you sick to teach you a lesson. Okay, but there are people that believe that. Oh, God's testing me. That's why I've got this sickness. So these are some of the things that we have to shift, because they are a lie. They are, you know, look at the fruit of it. That's your number one indicator. Always look at the fruit of what you are participating with. Is it bringing life? Is it bringing, you know, joy? Is it feeling fulfilled? Or is it bringing death? Is it bringing destruction or disruption? Is it like I'm pushing a rock uphill? Like these are all the things that I feel into in the spirit. Okay, because the question then is, God, is there something I need to move, or is this something that needs to I need to step away from? Okay, there are some things that you have to step away from, and I'm going to cover that a little bit longer in the next couple of weeks about moving some of those things. But right now, it's the curiosity. People are really loving to learn about ley lines. People are you know, and portals. We've had these conversations. The different tools that are available to us in the spirit. These are all leveling you up. And if you're new to this, we've got recordings on Empower of the different conversations that we've had, which will teach you some of those things. So, you know, there's lots of information here that you can, you know, go back and have a listen to. And please do. And feedback is always great, because if there's something that you didn't understand, please let us know. I really want to help people grab hold of who they are and the truth of who God is. So it's a time, this curiosity of spiritual knowledge is that we're exploring new spiritual truths, because there's a lot of things that we've been presented that is spiritual that is not truth, guys. And there's a lot of modalities being presented, and it's coming out thick and fast. You know, there's just so much coming out, and people are and it's causing a bit of chaos, because it's like, oh, I've got to go do this, you know, 4-hour breath work now, and then I've got to go and do a 5-hour meditation, and now I've got to go and say a mantra, and now I've got to go grounding, and these are all the things that pulling people from, you know, left to right. And I'm always, to me, God is, it's really simple. And I try to keep it really simple, because God is. The truth of who God is really simple. It's not complicated. It's not rocket science. It's that spiritual connection that we already have, that comes into connection with the one true God, and it ignites, it sparks, and it's like it brings life, and it brings that connection and the energy, and then we start to step into different things like love, and we start to change. This is all the process, and it all comes from the curiosity of what really is God, what really is the truth about being spiritual. And the more and more I look at the history, you know, man, I just go, oh my gosh, here's another person that's come along and done an offspring, you know, an offshoot of something else, and they've made it their version of what life should be. And it's all control. This is where, you know, Hans was talking about, well, you know, God's will and my free will. You always have free will with God. Always. He presents to you, and you decide whether you want to partner with that or not. And the stronger your relationship with God is, the more you want to. Because doing life with God is fun. It's a joy. It's adventurous. Well, it is for me because he knows my personality. So he knows how it needs to work for me. He knows how he created me. And I'm always curious to grow and to learn about the things of the Spirit. I never stop. I'm always asking those questions. You know that, guys. It's like, yep, okay, so how does that work? What's actually happening right now? What do I need to do in this? Like, well, what are they doing in this? So that I'm always having that communication. And it's funny, someone said to me the other day, well, you always say you're in the Spirit. Like, how does that work? And I'm like, well, how does that work? I'm always in communication and God aware. In other words, he is my primary focus every minute of the day. I'm always interacting. Price. So let's have a bargain. And I love those bargains, as most women do. So, these are the things that are just part of, that growing and learning to, so many people go, I ask for a car park. Some people go, oh, don't be so ridiculous. It works. It's like, don't dismiss God in the little things. Let your curiosity come into the little day things, the everyday things. If you're a guy that's working on the tools, bring God into that. Number one, you want protection. And number two, let him engage with him. How do I make this better? How do I do this better? Or, what if you're creative, like how do I bring part of the creative God aspect into what you're doing? So this is all part of that curiosity, guys. And then engaging in discussions with other people about their spiritual connection with God, how it happened for you. How did you find God? How did you find that spark, that connection of life? And everyone has a different story and everyone has a different journey. And this is what religion tries to do, is it tries to make it a cookie cutter. That's why they have all their rituals. Okay, now we can tick that box. Okay, you've been baptized as a child, you've been contracted into a religious contract. Okay, the next step, we've got to keep you contracting. We've got to keep you in the rituals. I actually don't see God in rituals. I see God in freedom. And I see him in that authenticity of relationship. That's why I don't have this, okay, I wake up at 5 a.m. and now I'm going to do my prayer time. And I'm not, guys, if that's what you do, that's great. You do you. But that doesn't work for me, because God will wake me up at 3 a.m. and he'll start telling me things. He's the one that orchestrates it. It's like if there's a situation where, I'm concerned for someone or something's presented to me, then I go, okay, God, let's deal with this. And I'll start decreeing and declaring. I never start begging God to move on my behalf, because that makes me a victim and a pauper. And God hasn't made us victims or paupers. So the second thing that starts to happen is, hang on, I've got to go find my thing. Growing in your connection with God or leveling up, you start to grow in an inner peace. And it's like you don't react to things that once upon a time would you go, oh, flip it, heck, oh, we got to deal with this again. It's like, oh, okay, all right, well, let's just go, let's just do this. And you start to shift in your resolve, and you're less reactionary. You're less, oh my God, you know, when you're on the driving along and someone cuts you off, it's like, okay, that's all right. You obviously need that space. You know, it's like, and just, you know, God, just send peace onto those people, just give them peace. So, you know, you find that you're less reactionary. Little things don't trigger you. You're a lot calmer. You know, like calm the farm is a really good indication that you are growing in leveling up spiritually. And you are become more confident as well, in the sense that you don't confident, but also at peace. You're less anxious, or you don't get distressed when things come your way. Like you're not reacting to circumstances and situations that you could possibly 5 months ago would have reacted to. Does that make sense, guys? Mm-hmm. So that's a really good indicator of how you are growing in your maturity in the spirit. And that it comes with a you know, this greater inner peace, but it becomes a state of being. And you know, you're calmer and you've got to resolve. And I'm going to share some words of what a state of being looks like, so that I want to break it down a little bit more, so that if you go, wow, I feel really content today, well, that's a state of being. Contentment, no matter the circumstances, is leveling up in the spirit. You become more aware. There is a stillness that rests on your being, like in your heart or in your emotion. There's a real stillness. Even if you've got, you know, a job where you've got to do 100 different things have got to happen, you still have this stillness, and there's a real confidence. It's like, we'll get done what we can get done. And, you know, I love doing lists. I am a list person. If I've got multiple jobs to do, I write them all out. And I don't actually look at the list again. I'll look at it at the end of the day, and I can start ticking off all the things that I had put on the list. They just happen. They just fall into place. Because I'm at rest. I'm in a state of being. It's not panic. It's not, oh my gosh, you know, everyone's freaking out. And we just speak, you know, peace to the circumstances and situations. But we don't even have to speak it. We just are bringing it because of our sense of being, our state of being. There's a real openness when you're in that place of peace. You're open to hear what other people have to say. You're open to ideas, you know, and it's all is well. All is well, because you're in this state of being. And that's different to doing. And religion will always make you be doers. I don't know if anyone here's come out of the, you know, being a Jehovah's Witness. Like, they have to go and knock on doors, because if they don't get a certain quota, then they're not going to make it to heaven. It's all it's got, I've got to work. I've got to work my way into a position. I've got to work my way into heaven. I've got to work my way into being, you know, seen, and I've got to work my way into God recognizing me. That's all the mindsets and programmings that we've got to step out from under. There's this sense of harmony when you're in a state of being as well. It's a beautiful place to live, because it just, how do you describe harmony? It's like everything's in balance. And guys, think about these words. If you're writing them down, ponder on each of these words, because it starts to, even speaking about it now, my body is vibrating to that word of being in harmony with God. It's like every cell in my body's going, yeah, we're all in harmony, party. You can feel it. You can feel that presence, you know, of God when you're in harmony with God. There's a sense of vitality that comes from in a state of being. You know, like sometimes I have, well, not sometimes, I often have more energy than people that are half my age. And they go, oh my gosh, we can't even keep up with you. You walk so fast. I'm going, oh, I'm just walking. What are you talking about? They're running. And my kids laugh about this because they go, Mum, you always walk so fast. I said, yeah, well, I'm giving you your exercise. Come on, chip chop. And they know when Mum takes off, that's it. We're off. And it's because it's like, yeah, we've got things to do. We've got life to live. So, and, you know, in a state of being, it's a place of reflection as well. I love to just sit, and I'm fortunate to live on the water, and I just love to look at the water and just reflect on, you know, who I am in God, but also who God is in me and who he is to me. And I often reflect on my life, you know, and it's great to have conversations where you share about some of your adventures or encounters. This is really important, guys. When we talk about our encounters that we have with God, with other people, the atmosphere starts to buzz, and people start to go, wow, well, if she can experience that, that means that I can experience that too. This is part of why I share, you know, my experiences, because it becomes a gateway for you guys to know that that's possible, so then I can have it too. It's not restricted. And again, this is what religion does. It's only for the elite. It's only for those that are ordained. It's only for those that, you know, that can stand up at the pulpit, you know, that have been given the tap on the shoulder, or the, yes, they've been recognized as leadership. Going, what a lot of crock. This is some of the stuff we just got to go, nah. We are all equal before God. We just have different giftings and callings that we step into. You know, I know for a fact there are more incredible women that stay in that, you know, hidden place that do extraordinary things. No one would even know their name, but they do extraordinary things. So this is where we don't undervalue ourselves and what we bring and what we do. Value it, whether it's, you know, making bickies and bringing it to your neighbor. Doesn't matter what it is. Don't undervalue it, because it has value. If you want a scripture to go with that, what about the little old lady that came and gave all that she had in the temple? Whereas, you know, you had the priest go up and all the fanfare, and here you are, here's this big amount of money, and all she had was a penny. And that's what she put in the plate. Not that I suggest you put money in the plate. But because that's all coerced and manipulated as well. So, you know, anything that causes you to do something out of shame and guilt, don't do it. You are being manipulated. You are being controlled. You do it because you want to do it. And I'm just going to digress for a minute here because I just feel to in the spirit. If you're a person that says yes to everything that everybody asks you, then you need to stop and ask yourself, are you doing it because you're people pleasing? Or are you being led by the Spirit to do that? Now, there's a fine line with this because if you've got a heart, that's open to God, you naturally want to say yes. If you are intuitive, you are, person that cares, you just naturally say yes. You just naturally want to do it. It's part of how we were made. That's the character of God. But what we've got to do is find that measure of when God is telling you to do something and whether you are just doing something to be accepted or please others. Because I've learned when you do things to please others, it's never good enough. And that is a real trap. And it can be very disheartening, and it can be very, sometimes you can end up quite resentful because you're like, well, I did everything, and it still wasn't good enough. Whereas when you do it with God, remember the audience of one, you're just doing it for God. And then there's joy on it. There's no strings. There's no emotional attachment. There's no looking for, look what I did, that sort of thing. It takes all of that out of it. I hope that made sense. So, inner peace is just the best. We all need it. We all want it. And we need it moving forward. So, and then the next step is it gives you a sense of purpose. When you have that connection and you have that inner peace, you come into this sense of purpose and your purpose becomes clearer. And, you're partnering with God because you're learning about the things in the spirit, you're learning about the tools, and then you find where you are led. Like some people they just want to help people. That's okay. That's great. If God's leading you to do that, or they just want to help people get healed. So a lot of people will start to do courses on how to help people emotionally. So it pulls you into a direction of what actually is your heart's desire. Some people want to grow potatoes because they want to help feed everybody. Yeah, and we need that. So, don't dismiss what gives you joy, what makes you feel happy, that happy place. I have lots of things that I really love doing. Like I love horse riding. I love the wind in my hair and going flat out. I've enjoyed jumping out of planes. You get the momentum here. Yep. Love fast cars. So love being on the water in a speedboat. And but I've had beautiful times with God in those circumstances. So hence, for those that remember the story where God kind of grabbed me by the scruff and said, sit, now you know why. It's like Mach 10 with my hair on fire. That's the way to run. God goes, no, we're going to learn to temper all of that. But he knows that when he tells me to do something, I do it. That's it. No holding me back. I'm off. So God's balanced it. He brings balance to those things. And so, you know, that sense of purpose, there's a lot of joy in that. But I love to paint. I love to sit and do art, and I can get lost in it. And I just do things, you know, with God. Go, let's be creative today. He's way more creative than me. Can I just say that? So he does a better job than I do. But, you know, that's it. And go, oh, and he'll tell you, you go, put this color with this color, and go, oh, never think to do that. Oh, wow, look at that. That's been opened and fluid and in that state of being. So, you know, these are the things that are showing you that you are leveling up. You are growing in your being, in that connection with God. So, and then there's other, I've got about 20 different points to talk about how we increase. So we talk, what happens also, let me go to this one, is that we increase in our compassion for others and in our empathy. Like, I know the things that I would have walked past before I met God, and now the things that I would never walk past now. That's growth in that, you know, that character, our character growing in being more like God. You know, growing in the fullness of who he actually created us to be. So, you know, dealing with, and I'll just clarify this. Remember, I shared with you, like, I was a really hard person. I was an angry person. I didn't trust anybody. I tell you, my heart was a heart of stone. I couldn't care about anybody or anything until I had that encounter at the age of 23, that my heart turned in my chest and it literally became a heart of flesh. And so before that experience, if there was someone on the street that needed help, I would step over them. I'm like, I'm not touching that. I wouldn't do that today. You know, if there's a little old lady that needs help crossing the road, I will help her. Anyone that I see that has need that I can assist with, being even so trivial as helping someone cross the road or getting them to their car, I just do it. I just jump in before I even think about it. Because my compassion and my empathy has grown so much. And where does that compassion and empathy come from? It comes from the very heart and character of God. That's why, you know, anyone that tells you that God doesn't care, they've got it so wrong. God fully cares. He has full compassion for us. You know, it's like, again, you know, religion is taught God's going to dangle you out and hang you over fire to see how much you're going to love him. Oh my God, just even that picture. How does that even make sense? And yet so many people buy that. If I don't do this, I'm going to hell. Hell wasn't designed for God's creation, us, his children. It is a religious rhetoric to control the masses. And I mean, there's so many of those teachings. We need to more and more wake up to that programming, to that realization of that is not God. And come into the fullness that he has for us, for you and me. He is fully compassion and he has full empathy. In other words, he understands and feels what you go through. He is with you in it. He is not separate from the circumstances that you are facing. But because he's in it with you is when we can get solutions. And if you, guys, one of the most powerful prayers is that if you don't know how to deal what you're dealing with, know that God's in it with you and release it to him. Go, God, I don't know how to deal with this. I don't even know how to feel about what's happening right now. Will you help me so I can deal with this? And you will see God come in and do something amazing. Because that's when we surrender. That handing over is a surrendering. And that's another really good indicator of leveling up, is the quicker you surrender. Sometimes we will go, no, we're doing this, we're going to handle this, and we're going to move forward, and we're going to do this, and we're doing that, and we do, okay, we're going to fix this, we'll do this here, we'll do that there. And then it's like, slowly, it's like nothing's working. And then we finally come to the place where we go, God, I don't know what we're doing. Can you help? He goes, oh, I wish you had asked me that 3 months ago. People blame God for situations and circumstances that he never orchestrated it. We orchestrated it. I see people that are in huge like, oh my gosh, they're in such a situation, but they put themselves there because of the choices that they make. Or they don't want to listen to wisdom, or they don't even want to bring God into it. And part of that is part of the programming. I've heard it preached from a pulpit that God doesn't care about the little things in your life. I tell you, I had to hang on to the seat because I was going to jump up and go and say something. I had to hang on to my seat so badly. I'm like, God, I just want to jump up and say, no, that's not true. That's a lie in front of 3,000 people. I'm like, oh, no, I can't do that. I better behave. But honestly, my spirit screamed, that is a lie. And that's why I want to encourage you guys, bring God into every aspect of your life, whether it's milking the cows, doing the dishes, going on a holiday, going for a drive, whatever it is, and it's not like you have to go, okay, God, we're getting in the car now, so we're going to go for a drive. Can you come with me, please? He is always with you. There is no separation. Now, I'm some religious theologists and leaders will go, well, no, that's not true because, if you've sinned, then God's going to turn his back on you. Oh my gosh. What a load of rubbish again. Simply because if you want scripture, it says that Jesus died to save the whole world. The world is already saved. That contract was already paid. The fact is that people that have not come into this beautiful relationship that we are all experiencing right now with God is that they have never been shown who the true God is. They see him as a God of judgment, a God of anger, the God of wrath. The God of, well, if you don't do this, I'm going to punish you. That's exactly what religion and the Luciferians, cabal, the Illuminati, Freemasons rhetoric is all about. That's why, to me, being in a relationship with God is simple. It's simple. All I did was ask God to come into my life. I didn't say a sinner's prayer. I didn't get on my knees and say 20 Hail Marys and 2 Our Fathers and, 50 stations, walking around the stations of the cross. I didn't get baptized. I didn't get, all the rhetoric or the rituals. All I did was ask God to come into my life. When we bring the simple truth and the simple message of how good God is, people will be knocking at your door. We need to get this in this time, because there's another whole wave of religious rhetoric being taught. People are starting to open up to the things of the Bible and to the things of God, and their spiritualities open up. And this burns in my heart, guys, that it's best that we give them the truth and the one true God, not another religion. This is where, in our compassion and empathy comes integrity. We are more integral in the way that we speak. We speak words of life and not death. That's part of your spiritual growth. These are the fruits of you leveling up in the spirit. We don't say everything that we see, but we can do it in the spirit. So when you're compassionate and your empathy for someone and you see that they're really struggling, don't go, oh, wow, I can really see you're struggling. It's like, yeah, right. Did you just hear the judgment and the condemnation in that word? Oh, yeah, I can really see you're struggling. It's like, no, just go in the spirit and go, God, can you please just move on their behalf? Release the peace and the presence of God onto their life. People will start coming up to you and go, what have you got? Look what you carry. What is that? What you shine. I love to be next to you. There's something about your energy. There's something about you. I just want to come and talk to you. I just want to sit next to you. There's some people that sit next to you and they're nearly on your lap. And you go, what's that? It's like, personal space, please. They're trying to get into what you carry. They feel it. And they're hungry for it. Because when we're authentic, when we're real, when we walk just in those 4 things that I've shared today, that hunger for more of God keeps us open. That inner peace that surpasses all understanding, that increase of your compassion and empathy for others, which grows that integrity and honesty. It all comes from that connection. of the one true God, his character, his personality. God has a personality. People don't talk about that. He loves to have fun. When was the last time you had fun with God? When was the last time you had a laugh with him? Yeah, that made you think, didn't it? Yeah, it's like, huh? You know, I think I've shared this. It's like, you know, I've been to the marine world and I look at some of the fishes and I just go, God, what were you thinking? I have a laugh, but he has a laugh too. He never answers it, but that's okay. We still have a laugh together. This is part of your growth, your spiritual growth, laughing at yourself. We got to stop taking ourselves so seriously because that's what religion does as well. It's so serious. It's so somber. Don't don't speak in the church building. It's like radio. What joy that brings. Not. Get together with your friends that are in the same heart and the same mind and have fun. Have a meal. That's communion, guys. Having a meal together. And that's fellowship. That's community. And have a laugh. Don't be serious. Don't be trying to, you know, deal with stuff. Just relax. God's got it. He's the one that causes us to grow. It's people's curiosity that brings them to a place that they want to learn. And they'll ask questions. And then if we present God with, someone asks, so how does God work? Well, let me tell you, there is a 5-step program that you need to enter into, and you need to tick all the boxes. And don't forget, you need to just, you know, put some money in the box. Otherwise, God's not going to work at all. And then when you've done all that, let's see how that works for you. So people go away and do all of that. And then they go back and they go, well, actually, that didn't really help me. Oh, you don't have enough faith. It's all your fault. What the heck? Let's just look at the program, shall we? Come on, guys. We've got to think differently. We got to think outside the box. We got to start challenging the rubbish that keeps people bowed down, keeps them in chains. If you are free in your heart, if you're connected the way that I've shared with you, you know, we're here to break chains. We're here to dispel the spell that people are under and share the authentic love and share the true character of who God is. And on that journey, you are learning who God is. You are learning who you are. So it has a snowball effect. We're all growing. We're all learning. No one ever gets there. The minute you think that you got there, you're in for a rude awakening, because we never get there. Not in the sense that we have to achieve this, but we're growing continually. There's so much to learn about the things of the Spirit. And that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it exciting, because it's like, oh, what am I going to learn new this week? How is God going to reveal himself to me? What is he going to show me? Who am I going to meet? So I'm going to stop there for today. We're going to continue that. I've got heaps of other points to bring so that you can really start to realize how much you're growing, how much you're learning, how much you're changing for the better. So has anyone got any questions? Wow, you guys, you got all that? Awesome.
Patty,
Yes, Gil.
yeah, with the whole compassion thing, like I'm like you, like I like to help, I just if there's an opportunity there, I'm gonna help out if I can.
Yep.
Turtle crossing the road. But I don't it's like I don't have the same compassion for people that I feel like are just order followers, like they're part of the problem. And I don't know. I just feel differently, and I know that's not like it doesn't feel good. How would you?
Okay, so I understand that there is, and I am going to talk about that as well next week, is that we start to step away from those that aren't on the same page. And there's a whole lot to that. There is a big shift in those that are for God and those that are against God. And that's starting to separate. So this is where, if there are some people that I won't have anything to do with. I just know that their agenda is not good. Okay. But I don't judge or punish anyone either, in the sense of I don't make that judgment. I just know that God's going, nah, that walk away from that. Okay. This is what they're going to be a distraction. They're going to try and sideline you. So you got to stay true to what God's asking you and telling you to do. But I'm never rude to people, and well, not intentionally. And I release them. I go, God, you need to. I can't do anything here, but you can. So don't feel bad about that, because in the last 6 years, like families have broken up because they're on two different planes. So either the vaxxed or the unvaxxed. And I've got friends that have really paid a big price where their kids won't even speak to them. So, which is really sad. I really feel for her, but that was their free will. That was their choice. She was a really good mum. She is a really good mum. But these kids just went anti the other way. And that's part of what we're seeing on the earth as well. So there'll be I feel we're going to see a great exposure of those that are for God and those who are not. And that conversation can go into the different DNA and genetics that are on the earth as well. Does that make sense, Gil?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So that's where sometimes it's like, nah, we can't partner with them. And don't feel bad, but not from judging them because, well, they're not awake and they don't get it, and more fool them and all that sort of stuff. And I hope they get 10 jabs and they suffer the consequences. That's not our job. Okay, our job is to love and to care for others, because people grow in their awakening or their levels of truth in different layers. So we have to give people space to find their truth, to step into it in the time that they are ready to. Because that's remember, this is part of what religion did. Like if you didn't accept Jesus and, say the sinner's prayer, you're going to hell. Well, I'm sorry, but I've met people that have never, ever done that are nicer people, kinder people, and more connected with God than those that have been in churches, in religion. But yet they have been punished, or they have been judged and condemned because they won't do the 5 steps. This is part of the awakening, that we are stepping out from underneath that rhetoric and just coming into, you know, being connected with God and us growing in our individuality and learning. Okay. I see lots of things, guys, and I just look at it and go, well, you know what? That's their journey. And I just ask God to move on their life. Okay. But please don't condemn or judge. Don't come from, well, you know, they're not doing it our way, so, you know, they're not worth anything. Everyone has worth. Everyone has value. Yeah. I'm not saying that you're doing that. I'm just making the whole statement so people understand. All right, Gil?
But I have done that, and I have felt bad, very bad about it.
Yeah.
I even had to go back. I even had to go back to a store to find a guy to then apologize. But
yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just and you know, sometimes you just got to go, God, I'm sorry. You know, that was I shouldn't have done that. Clean the slate. But if it's a regular thing in your life, you got to ask yourself, why do I do that? Okay. We always got to bring it back to ourselves. Always ask, why am I behaving like that? Why am I feeling like that? What's going on in me? Is there a hurt that needs to be healed? Is there a mindset that I've hung on to that is not in line with God's character and heart? We all got to do that, Gil. We all do. We all got to do it on a regular basis. You know, it's someone makes you feel prickly. You're going, oh, I feel a bit prickly here. What's going on? Oh, yeah, okay, that's my issue. Remember, we've got to be honest with ourselves. And that's part of leveling up spiritually, because we're quicker to do that. We're quicker to go, hang on a minute. We're quicker to own our own, I was going to swear then, I better not, our own stuff. It's like, oh, okay, that's on me, that one. Okay. So it's really important, because that keeps us growing quickly as well, because we're dealing with stuff that are hindering us from having that full and ultimate relationship. Bless you, Gil. Okay, Todd, one more question. Todd?
Yeah,
where are you, bro?
I'm in the baby steps of finding God, and it's amazing. And thank you very much for today, because it's opened up my eyes quite a bit. And my question is to you: is the people that don't believe they're here for a purpose, do you think they can be reached?
Wow, that's a
I know.
yeah, look, it's interesting you should say that, because a friend was telling me about their neighbor who is a Seventh-day Adventist or a Mormon. And basically her response was, when we die, there's nothing. And she's a 7-day Adventist. And I was like, wow, like how sad is that? She's doing her life living in this religious institution. She abides by all their rules, but she fully believes that after this life, there is nothing. Now, I don't know about you, but if there was nothing, I certainly wouldn't be living my life in a religious institution. I would be breaking all the rules big time. But yeah, so it's really, everyone has a purpose, Todd. The problem is they could be so shut down emotionally and spiritually that they just don't see that they have one. So what in that case, and a lot honest, when I used to have all the homeless kids in my house, 20 of them, they didn't think they had a hope and a future. So every day I would speak to the giftings that I could see on their life and encourage them. And I would tell them that they do have a future, that they had value, that they had gifts. And it's like, how do we find what makes your heart sing, you know? And a lot of those kids, their lives, well, they're adults now, they're parents, their lives were changed just by, you know, speaking life to them without them even realizing what I was doing. We can speak life to anyone, anywhere, without them even knowing that's what we're doing. That's what encouragement is. That is what, you know, releasing, you know, encouraging them, but exhorting them, like telling someone they make a great cup of coffee makes their day. Telling someone that they gave you great service. Wow, thank you for your help. I really needed it. I appreciate that. These are little things that we're speaking life into that person, and we're chipping away from the programming and the rhetoric that this world has put on them. So, you know, we need to look at each other and those around us with a hope and a future, with purpose. Sometimes we get to help draw that out. Does that answer your question, Todd?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I sort of understand that very much more, right? Because I think just people are holding back. Maybe they don't want a purpose, right? They don't, you know, they don't want their lives are so good they don't need a purpose in a sense, right?
Well, you know, maybe if their life's so good, they're in their purpose.
That could be too, yes. Right. Okay, thank you very much, Dottie.
Yeah, because some people, this is where sometimes people that haven't been churched are walking their purpose. They're fulfilled. They're doing things that God's put on their heart, and they're fulfilling it. To be honest, I find that people that are very churched or very religious are the ones that struggle more with having a purpose, because their programming is, if you're not fulfilling your calling that God's placed on your life, you're missing it. Has anyone ever heard that? So what happens is oh my God, I'm going to miss my purpose. I wonder what my purpose is. What am I meant to be doing? God, is this what I'm meant to be doing? It's like, calm down. God is the one that orders your steps. And you'll find things that make your heart sing. You enjoy it. You'll find like-minded people. Or God will just open doors for you. I mean, you know, look, I've had random people ask me to come to Africa. And I got on a plane and went to Africa. When I landed in Africa, I went, oh my gosh, what have I done? Blonde lady in Africa stood out like a pimple on your nose. Like, oh my gosh, by myself, I didn't know anybody. But God told me to go. So I went, and he took care of everything. But it was a bit of I went, oh my gosh, hang on a minute. It happened when I went to the Philippines. It happened when I went to America. It happened when I went to China. It happened when I went to India. It's like, it's not like I'm looking to go and do those things. Those doors presented themselves and I walked through them. Now, I could have said, no, thanks, not going, and that would have been fine. But I would have missed out on a lot of fun and a lot of learnings. So it's, you know, it boils down to the hunger of your heart. It really does. That curiosity, the hunger of your heart. If you want more, and I'm always asking for more, God will give it to you. If you go, I'm happy like this, God, let's just do this. He's like, okay. That's where we come back out of doing the works, the doing. I got to prove that I'm doing what God wants me to do. I don't have to prove anything. But do I enjoy sharing with you guys? Absolutely. I absolutely love it. And I see it as an absolute privilege and an honor from the depth of my heart. So we're going to end that there today, and I will see you next week with some more of indicators of leveling up spiritually. Thanks, everyone. Love you all.
Thanks, Dottie.
Have
Love
a
you,
great week.
everyone.
Love
Thank
you. Bye.
Thank you, Dottie. Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.
See your
Thank you,
hands,
Dottie.
Elisa.
Thanks,
Bye.
Patty.